Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Friday. How's everybody doing? NFL live stream, fantasy football, sports book, everything. Sunday morning, 10:45 to 12:45. Today, we're going over some fantasy football start sits. There's a lot of pass catchers that I feel need to be reevaluated immediately right now, going into this week. Whether you're going to start them, sit them, trade them, and it's just I want to go over their games, what they've been doing, and what I think they're going to do, and what we should do with them. So 10 guys, real quick, just have a little fun here. One of them, I'm all going to tie it into the actual games. So. The first one I want to talk about is Stefon Diggs as a receiver. He's probably not anybody's top one or two on their fantasy team, but he might be the third or fourth. And if you're starting two receivers, two running backs, then you got two flexes, you're usually going to start your third back and your third receiver, or your third and fourth receiver. So Stefon Diggs is one of the guys on the fringe in a lot of people's flex positions that people are trying to think of, should they start him or not. So I looked him up, and he's not as low as you would think. He's coming off the ACL, and he's been a little quiet, but he's number 38. Altogether, he's number 38. Here's his lines. 6 for 57 first game, 4 for 32, 3 for 23, and 6 for 101 last week. Now, 6 for 101 last week, the emergence of Drake May and the revenge game, they're playing Buffalo Sunday night. I got to think Stefon Diggs is a good start in your flex. So if anybody's got Stefon Diggs, the whole Patriots team seems like an upstart situation right now with Drake May, second year, big stride. I would look to start Stefon Diggs, and in a weekly fantasy also, same thing. Another one, now it's some of them are up, some of them are down. Another one now, this one was alarming. I happen to have Quentin Johnson, who's doing great, and the resurgence of Keenan Allen back on the Chargers has everybody so happy. But one receiver that's really taken a hit with his production is Ladd McConkey. I don't know what's going on with Ladd McConkey, but he's not even in the top 50 wide receivers right now. So, do you have the patience if you're 1-3 or 0-4 in fantasy? And let's say you have Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, and a couple regular receivers, Devontae. I might not start Ladd McConkey. And to be honest with you, if you can grab a guy like Slayton on the waiver wire, who's going to be the number one in the Giants, I don't know if I'm starting McConkey. Listen to this. He's number 52. Here's his games this year. 6 for 74, 5 for 48, 4 for 41, 1 for 11. He literally went down progressively each game. So be careful with Ladd McConkey, guys. He started slow, but he's a good receiver. But he does have a cap. He's no Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's got a cap. You don't see big yards per catch ever. He's in between the hashes, possession. That's what he does. But McConkey, I don't know. I'm seeing very slow start. He'll come on. He came on last year, too. If you look at last year, his start was slow. Another guy you got to look at, T. Higgins. I'm going to be quick with him. We call him T's Higgins. He's shown that he's not a consistent pro anyway. Now with no Joe Burrow, I'm looking at his line. He's got 10 catches the whole season, 10 catches. We're going into week 5, so he's number 60. Be careful with T. Higgins. If you got 4 or 5 decent receivers, I would get him out of the lineup until the Bengals show you something different. Just wanted to touch on that. Another one, Cooper Kupp. I have a different opinion on him. Cooper Kupp's ranked 57. He's only 3 spots better than T. Higgins. 2 for 15, 7 for 90, 2 for 31, 4 for 26. I feel like Seattle's team is going to be there in the end. I feel like they're good. I feel like Cooper Kupp has more of a chance to give you a 6 for 65 this week than Higgins does the same line. So Cooper Kupp, I wouldn't give up on him, but monitor him close. But that's a tough one. Start, sit. If you just picked up Woody Marks off the waivers for running back for the Texans, and you got Cooper Kupp and Wan'Dale Robinson, who you starting? That's tough. Cooper Kupp, you got to be real. You really got to look at your other players. If you have another solid guy, like I have one. I have Darius Slayton. I will probably start Slayton in the flex over Kupp. Even though I like Cooper Kupp, he's a better receiver, yeah. you gotta put it in perspective. He's going slow. So if you have another guy that you picked up that you can start in your flex over Kupp, because Kupp's not anybody's 1 or 2 receiver. So if you could start another guy over Kupp in the flex, I would sit Kupp until he shows you something better. Another guy on the betting board, I don't know what he's going to do in the game. I wouldn't be too confident in him fantasy, but A.J. Brown. I would bet on A.J. Brown to have 5+ yards receiving in the first quarter. They're going to get that crybaby the ball right away. A.J. Brown, first quarter this week, 5 yards. Here's his lines this year. 1 catch for 8 yards, 5 for 27, 6 for 109, 2 for 7. Number 47th receiver. A.J. Brown, I don't know what's going on, but I would sit him. Just take him 5 yards, 1 quarter. Moving on. Here's another guy. This guy, I thought, I wouldn't say to sit him. If you got to start him in a flex, you got to start him. But I thought he would be a little higher up already. Jameson Williams. He's number 43. He's the number 43 receiver in fantasy. He's got 10 catches on the season. 4 for 23, 2 for 108, 2 for 43, and 2 for 40. That's a little too low of a volume for my liking. I thought Jameson Williams was supposed to take that next step, be a little better. So that's a guy, you could sit him. You got other options. Not seeing it. That's too much boomer bust. That's what we thought Quentin Johnson was going to be until he's showed that he could be a consistent stud. That's why I'm not mentioning Quentin Johnson, because he's a stud already. He's producing big time. Here's another guy you got to look at. Wan'Dale Robinson, number 28th receiver. Now that Neighbors went down, Wan'Dale's a guy you start and Slayton this week. Wan'Dale, I would have to say that Wan'Dale's going to produce now this year more and more. That's a guy, if you got him in a flex, you got to start. Shakir for Buffalo. He's the guy. He's a little higher than Coleman. Evaluating Buffalo receivers is tough. But if you had to rank Shakir and Coleman, Shakir is higher on the list for me. He's in the top 30 this year, number 30, and he's got big play capability. So Shakir's a guy you could start in your flex over a Kupp, over a Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb might have lost his job now. Let's say you don't have Woody Mark and you were starting Chubb in the flex. You realize it's probably not happening for him. I would start a guy like Shakir if you got him on the end of your bench. 2 more guys. This one, not as bad as it seems. Marvin Harrison Jr., labeled the bust last year. Here's lines this year. 5 for 71, 2 for 27, 3 for 44, 6 for 66. He's in the top 30. The Cardinals look good against the Seahawks, and he played really well in the second half last week. So Harrison Jr. is a guy I would keep the faith and start him if you could. And then my last guy, I drafted him last year, got nothing from him. He got a concussion, nothing. Terrible wash of a year. But I looked him up this year. He's in the top 25 for receivers. Chris Olave for the Saints. Bad team, but 7 for 54, 6 for 54, 10 for 57, 3 for 20. Quiet game last week. So Chris Olave owners, I don't know why you would have even drafted him. But he's a guy that you start. You start, definitely, if you got him in a flex. But I just wanted to go over a couple pass catchers, wide receivers, start, sit. I'm probably going to do a live later. So I just wanted to drop this. So when I do the live, we're going to be doing fantasy start, sits for this weekend. Any guy we're thinking of, any dilemmas, people's teams. I got this person and that person. We'll see what's going on, all right? But the live stream Sunday morning, 10:45 to 12:45. We'll go over everything, all right? Nooch Neighborhood Picks. Like and subscribe.